Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Pearse, and this is the Genesis Gems podcast. Enjoy this next episode. And we're back with the Genesis Gems podcast, and I would like to introduce you to Nattalia Smith, Director and Financial Advisor at TruWealth Advice. Welcome, Nattalia. How are you?
Thank you, Jenny. Yes, good. How are you?
I'm excellent. As you may know, I'm a big advocate for women in financial advice, and I'm a big advocate for women accessing financial advice. And I thought, there's a go-to person in this conversation, and that's you, Nattalia. So I really hope that today we can really distill some great gems, really focusing in on creating impact for financial advice for women. But before we get to that, I would love it if you could share a snapshot of what's brought you to where you are today.
Wonderful. Yeah, really excited to be here. And so would like to keep it short, potentially. Maybe not too long, but my journey started when I migrated to Australia 20 plus years ago. And coming to a new country, not really speaking any language, and being on my own was quite a challenging time. So, trying to find a job in my early 20s, and also my degree, I had a psychology degree, it actually wasn't recognized. So, I really, yes, yes. So, I thought, well, what can I do with my life? And I always liked investments, numbers, financial topics, and was lucky enough to get into a financial planning practice as an assistant, and then went back to uni, did my master's in business banking and finance, and all the financial planning qualifications that I had to do.
Which is plenty these days.
Yes, yes. So, and then just moved up the ladder and became a financial advisor, and finished sort of my corporate job, corporate life as a private wealth manager at Macquarie.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And yeah, and then in 2010, decided, I actually I'm committed to serving my clients, love what I do, and that was my priority. And I thought maybe I can have my own business, and that's how it started. Yeah,
So True Wealth was born.
that's right. Right.
Okay, so certainly not a babe in the woods in regards to a baby in the woods in regards to how long you've been in business for yourself. So um, I'm thinking during that time, a lot's changed for you. But before we get into that, I want to talk about, I guess, when you chose to um, niche, creating that impact where, it is really about women.
And it's so true. When you start a business, a lot of it is really you just kind of try to navigate. You're sort of a bit lost. You don't know what to do, and you don't really have a clear direction. I mean, some people are very good at it, but for me personally, it wasn't. But over the years, I've noticed that my clientele was very much the same. And I tend to attract a lot of women, and particularly single women and women that were quite vulnerable in terms of their financial literacy, or maybe they've never made those financial decisions in their life and they just needed really that kind of support and help and guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my personality is probably matching what they needed in terms of they need that empathy, that sort of soft skills and support. And that's how it happened just by default. My clientele became predominantly single women.
And that's still the case today?
Absolutely. Yes, yes. We
Wow.
do look after a lot of divorcees or widows or just women that they're single and they've never had time, energy, or even maybe interest in managing their money.
Is there a particular type of female client that you prefer to work with? So, broadly, you're supporting women in general, but is there are they at a particular stage in life? Are they so they're seeking advice, or are they um, corporate women, business owners? What sort of is there a particular stage do you think that attracts them to financial advice? Do you think?
Yes, look, it could be different life stages. It could be that particularly pre-retirement, 50 plus, when you start thinking about your future more often than when you are in your 20s, 30s, and 40s. And sometimes maybe mistakes that you've made in those early years, probably you kind of maybe regret and sort of feel like, okay, well, what am I missing out on? Do I need to do something to not to make those mistakes again? So it's really just questioning yourself. That's where they are at. Um, a lot of them are running really successful businesses or careers. They're having really successful careers, they're earning, they're successful, but they're spending it all just to compensate for the lack of, freedom and happiness. So I guess that's what we see as well. Or maybe they're going through a divorce that is really difficult, loss of a partner. It is more of a life event than just a profession, for example. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that would be an advantage then that you've got that psychology background, and that behavioral background, because that, obviously money behavior is a big issue in general, whether you're male or female. Not always do we have good relationships with money. So have you found that's really helped in the way you engage and interact with your female clients?
It's so important. I'm really, really glad that I've done that. I've never practiced as a psychologist, but even knowing and learning, consistently learning about money mindset and personalities and behavioral finance, it's a fascinating area because there's so much we don't know about ourselves and our
Yeah.
clients. But it does help. It helps an advisor to understand how they can communicate with their clients, what can they do to ensure that they build their trust. Because in a lot of cases, it is women come to us and they look for a safe space. So you've got to create that safety net.
Mm.
Without without that, there is no further conversation. So it's that kind of really feeling of security and safety that they need and they seek. And also, I get sort of, you take them on a journey. It is a journey as well. With a lot of our clients, they might be extremely educated, but their financial literacy is so low. So you're trying to make sure that they come to a level where they are comfortable. Because if
Mhm.
we know something, we're just not going to do it. Yeah.
Mm.
So really understanding biases, and we've got so many hundreds plus biases. Yes, it's
I'm thinking of what are my biases right now?
conscious. We don't
Maybe vices, not biases. I don't know.
Yeah, so it is. It's really yes, I love it. It's a fascinating journey to learn and improve, and I guess that's what really attracts me to this industry as well because you're constantly learning.
Yeah. So I want to flip it for a minute because we're talking very much here around the people at the end, that are I guess that that are at the end game, the people that you're helping, and that they're critical, obviously, to the process. But I guess I'd like to talk to you about building true wealth. And I'm keen for your experiences in building that, your business. I get, let's just focus for a moment just on those, what sort of core values were important to you when creating true wealth? You know, how is there a particular sort of culture that you wanted to ingrain in the business so that when people knocked on the door, that experience was, there for them? So share with me a little bit about, True Wealth, the business, and how you've, built it to where it is today.
And even the name True Wealth, that's kind of tells a lot. But we try.
Gosh.
Yeah, yeah. So telling the truth, transparency and integrity is really important for us. And when we, when we get clients on board, for us, it's really important they share similar values.
Mm.
And that is one of the requirements when we do our discovery meetings with them to ensure that we are not going to do something that they're not expecting. And that's where those expectations come into play. But building a business as a business owner, it is your baby. It is. You can take it any way you want, which is really exciting, and it's really important to always say it is a journey. It's not a destination.
Mm.
People say, "Look, I'd like to build a business to sell." Again, it's whatever. It's what they need, what they want. For me personally, was all about living my values and making sure that I work with clients that I actually enjoy working with, and
Mm.
because that's when you are in the flow. You love what you do, you're good at it, and you're just, creating something that with a bit of purpose. So
Mm.
it's really important. But it comes to that, over the years, I guess, it's a bit of maturity as well, isn't it? At the very start, you probably think about, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to maintain my cash flow to ensure that actually I am able to?
Mm.
But then as you grow and your business sort of changes as well, you do come to a different realization.
Yeah. So you're the sole advisor in the business?
I do have another advisor, Lauren. So we both work together. We are a team for a client, so they see us. Yeah, so it's a nice balance. Sometimes if I'm not available, Lauren is there, and vice versa.
Mm.
And I guess that comes from when I was at IPAC. We had an approach where you've got a finder and a minder, and I really like that. So I guess I picked that from my experience.
I like that. I like that because I guess it makes you feel like you've got that, that team in your corner type approach, that if the wheels fell off,
Yeah.
so to speak, that there's more than one person behind you, supporting you, backing you, that type of thing, which I guess comes in where your personal CFO, I always think of it, very frequently most women are managers of the finances, but they don't necessarily manage their finances. And I think, the personal CFO is a really good, tagline or
Mm.
message, because we often neglect, we can balance a budget as far as, making sure our groceries are purchased and the credit cards paid. But, sometimes beyond that, as women, we're not particularly good at managing our future finances.
We just don't know what we don't know. And
Mm.
sometimes it's asking those questions and showing our clients that, yeah, there is a bit more to it, but also it doesn't have to be complex. It could be quite straightforward and simple, and that's our role. A lot of what we do is that educational piece where we have conversations and we make sure that our clients understand everything, they feel comfortable. Because if I think about our clientele, the most important feeling for them is safety and security, when they feel they are safe and secure. And that's how you do actually deliver that.
Yeah. Um, so over the years, I mean, obviously delivering financial advice is a complex process. And it is a process, and every business has its nuances. How have you had to innovate in that way to get the advice to to your female clients?
I think we're so lucky to live in the world of technology these days. I can't even, remembering those days back in early 2000s when you had very limited technology, maybe one, if that, emails. When now you've got so many different options, and they are great. And AI is just the latest one that everyone talks about. And yeah, so no, we're very lucky that we, as a small business, nimble business, you can change things. You can obviously pivot to a particular different software if you don't like one or another. It's all about, is it going to, where's it going to take us? And that innovation part of it, it's really important that, you don't have 8 staff just doing one job or, supporting an advisor. It's changed how many support people you need in the business. And I've been through that with my business too. But yeah, so understanding what are your needs and how can you actually make it more efficient with technology that we've got. That's
Mm. I guess with that, though, often cost comes into it as well, because the technology is wonderful, but sometimes the cost on businesses and the impost as far as compliance, it can be pretty challenging. Do you find that for women, is the cost of advice a roadblock? And I guess this can be a controversial question, because at the end of the day, I get that sometimes it's about how much you already have. But at the same token, we are trying to get more women seeking advice. And I would have thought technology would have been a great way of helping us with that. Do you think that's the case? Or do you think that, that the cost of advice is a roadblock still?
Back in 2010 when I started my business, literally you didn't have to have any financial resources pretty much. There were a lot of dealer groups that were offering a percentage. You could just join them and you didn't have to pay. And they actually, I think there was like a sign-on bonus or something like that. So it was, that's
changed.
to actually open a financial planning practice, you do need to have a bit of capital behind you to ensure that you are able to sustain the business. So it's different. And you're right, the costs have gone up significantly. What you need to do, how you need to do it. That's one of the cons of, well, yes, your pricing changed. And unfortunately, we try to, run it and price it in a way that it's fair, reasonable, but sometimes it's just not possible. And there is that perception still in the public that cost of financial advice should be much lower than what it is right now. And people get surprised. They do. And I guess it's just, it's that anchoring where they might not, they might not they've never had a financial advisor before. But maybe they went to see an accountant and that was only an hourly rate. It's very different to, or they might go and see a doctor again, it's an hourly rate. So that kind of, where now there's thousands of dollars that they have to outlay, it is a very different approach. So I do see it. It is a problem, I would say. But sometimes, what's interesting, I might have clients that come to me from, other places and they say, I don't even know how much my advisor charges me. So that is actually, I know, it is so common. It's,
Wow.
they actually don't know. And
Wow.
yes, it does still exist. Very
Gosh. I
Mm.
guess that's the advantage of, having, I'm going to go back to TruWealth, is making sure that you are transparent, that there is that, integrity piece that, look, this is what it is, this is what you get. And I do think it's also, and I'm sort of leapfrogging into the next question here a little bit, is that it's about putting the message out there that, advice is much more than just numbers. That, definitely working with a financial advisor is about having a gatekeeper, someone that's in your back, in your corner, supporting you through the toughest times, but also the high points in your life, So I think that one of the questions I wanted to talk to you about is really, as you know, and I've mentioned to you before, I'm a big fan of your marketing. I actually really do quite love your marketing messaging, particularly.
You? Thank you.
But I just wondered was it just a natural evolution for you to develop your marketing the way you have, or was it a conscious thing? How did you get to, where you are today with your marketing?
Look, I think it's a combination of different things. And I certainly have engaged agencies in the past. I have learned a lot from different podcasts when podcasts just started to. So for me, it was, and I've never studied business. I mean, apart from doing masters in business, which wasn't really about business. You just learn as you go and you learn from others. And I guess, again, very lucky now we've got so many, I've got a lot of mastermind groups that I'm part of, peers, sharing that knowledge, which is fantastic. And that's something, particularly as a business owner, you don't really have that support. So you do need to go out and find that information and and also being very focused and not getting distracted, because that's what's currently is easier to do, because there's much, we all get distracted by shiny things, and be really super focused on, okay, what does my client need? Who's my client? Niche is really important. And how can I add value in the best possible, in the most efficient way? That's what I always keep in my mind. But yeah, marketing, look, again, it is for me, look, it's a fascinating industry or area of expertise. And as you know, there's so much you can tell, and you maybe, yes, I'm still learning, to be honest.
Well, I think you're doing a good job learning.
Oh, thank you.
So with your marketing, where have you focused? What's been your where you spent your attention?
I guess, look, and you said that there is a bit of a theme currently that obviously social media has been quite now is probably your standard form of advertising. A lot of actually financial advisors embraced it, which is great. So if you ask me 5-10 years ago, it wasn't the case.
No, definitely not.
Yes. But if you're not there, nobody knows about you. So you have to be there. You have to be known. And sometimes it's not how good you are, it's how good you are seen. Unfortunately, that's the truth. And so I think for me, it's consistency. That was my decision to make sure that I'm present out there and people find me because I am conscious of adding value and what can I do. But also with messaging, it's really interesting that sometimes is trying to understand what our clients actually would like to hear, and particularly, with our brain, as a financial advisor, you've got all this strategic thinking, you very much, it's all about the technical expertise. And so you forget that we actually deal with people, and people really just, to trust, they need to speak to a person. It's all about connection, building that connection as well. So I guess the psychology behind it really helps me understand. But at the same time, it is, yeah, it's not sometimes what you say, it's how you say it as well. There's an art to it, and you are better at actually telling it, not me.
I've put you on the spot. No, I do think the thing that I've really enjoyed in watching your evolution is how you've brought your personal brand into it, but you've married that very closely. There's no doubt in my mind when I see anything that's related to TruWealth that it's Nattalia's voice, Nattalia's values. That's very it's quite prominent to me, but I do think it also is about, and I feel like you've refined quite well over the last 14 years that you've had TruWealth, is that you've refined your message so much that it now really resonates with the clients that you really want to do business with. And sometimes that's natural progression. But sometimes it's, as I said, it's a conscious decision because that's really who you want to do business with. It's really the people that are at the heart of, where you want to have impact, where you want to create that impact. And I think that's where you've got to now. And that's a good business progression, but it takes conscious effort to do that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's all trial and error. Like sometimes some things work, some don't. And you know how they say now it's not about the actual brand, it's about the person. So it's all about sort of that person who's at the at the top, and they see you, and it's being authentic is really important, and it's not trying to be someone else.
Yeah, I think probably the thing that I like too with them, not only your messaging, but just also, the content that you do put out is that there's an elegant simplicity to it. So, our brains get bombarded. I mean, any given day when you open your inbox or when you do the death scroll, on your mobile phone, whether whatever social media platform floats your boat, it's just data coming at you and click this, do that, jump this high, whatever. It's just crazy. Whereas I feel sometimes in advice, advice is complicated.
Yes.
And, it's taking that complexity and actually making it simplistic, or not simplistic, but easy for the end user to digest, for the preferred client to digest. And I think that's where you've been a bit masterful in what you've done. So, yeah, kudos to you, because I think, that's not always easy to do.
No.
The big thing I'm interested in from you is the role of money coaching in your business. So when did you decide that that was something you wanted to incorporate into your business process or into your business offering?
Probably similar around the time when I guess this kind of social media explosion happened. I feel like so it was a lot of focus on money mindset at that time, and it sort of just made me think, well, that's just something that I've learned early in my life. Can I maybe use that? And also interesting, particularly when it comes to understanding people. And now we've got a new way of asking questions. There's like a questionnaire that it's not your traditional fact find, but it is the way we try to help our clients tell us more about them without us asking millions of questions. So it's a form that we get them to complete. It's like a by type form. It does ask questions in relation to money mindset, money beliefs, money values, and that kind of really helps us understand their personality first before even, going through any other stages. And that just, yeah, it's really good. I'm glad that we've done that. But also as we work with our clients, it is part of what we do as well. We have those discussions as well, and trying to make sure that we speak their language, but also because a big part of what we do is educational. So we take them on the journey, and that is a big part of, and sometimes it's the most important.
So it's quite a learning curve, really, I guess, for most of your clients when they come to work with you, because they're going through that sort of almost money identity
Yes.
piece before they've even really progressed into the advice component. Is that what is that the natural flow of it?
We probably start with it.
Yeah.
We just look at, okay, where are we at? We try to prioritize as well, because sometimes it might take us longer to work on a particular aspect, and it depends what's happening. So, for example, with a lot of our clients that are going through divorce, there's a bit of it's a very different time to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we focus on the priorities. We focus on what they need, what help and guidance they need, because it is a transition for them. So we've got to bring it up at that point in time, because it's not going to help. But in some other cases, it might take longer than just 12 months.
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a journey, and yeah, but I'm very mindful that I can't cross that line. I'm not a psychologist. It's really it's something that they need to focus on with a professional, not us.
Yeah, I guess really what you're trying to do there is create an awareness over and above just talking about the numbers, which I think isn't a negative, it's a positive, because we kind of all need to do that. Um, so I want to flip it for a moment, and talk about you as a financial advisor. So, we've obviously been through quite a topsy-turvy time over recent years as far as financial advice and financial advisors, I should say, go. And, from my perspective, we've seen some attrition, because of different regulations coming into play. What I'm very conscious of is, you know, what does it mean to you as a female, to be a financial advisor? What does it mean to you?
I think it's an amazing role, because you can actually do what you love, and you don't have to, I suppose, fall into one particular type of financial advisor. So it is very diverse. You can focus on certain different areas of advice as well. You can specialize if you wanted to, or you can work with particular types of clients. So that variety is great. I feel
Mm.
it suited different types of people to do different jobs, and having different businesses, which is great. Um, so I think for me personally, again, it's my values, my purpose, what I love doing, and the way I can do it is great as well. Obviously, the compliance is there. It's always going to be there, but there's more to it. And I think that's where probably, and attracting more women to financial advice as well. Like, that's fabulous. And showing them that it's not just about the numbers and spreadsheets, and, and something that potentially maybe you never enjoyed doing in the past.
Mm.
So much more diverse. It is your relationships. It is your way of adding value in different ways, because it's not just about the numbers.
Mm, I think that's the, interesting comment about attracting more women to a career path in advice, and whether it's as a self-employed advisor, an employed advisor, whatever that looks like. But I do think, there's a stronger movement today to encourage women to become financial advisors. I think our challenge is really getting women to understand what that looks like. And I was interviewing a young girl who's not long come out of university, and she said to me, she said, you know, when we were at university, when she was studying, she said we didn't know what a paraplanner was. She
No.
said there's all these roles and lingo and or jargon, and she said it meant nothing to us as people that had literally come out of their schooling years and gone into tertiary education, completing degrees, and some of them chop and change degrees, as you know. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, so this is a career path that I could take. So I think, yeah, I think as an industry, perhaps we need to do a little more work in that space, because I think women are a perfect fit for financial advice, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
We're very good at the EQ.
This empathy. It's all about empathy, and that's kind of what I think is really important to make sure that the client, um, what they achieve. Ultimately, it's all about them achieving their goals.
Yeah, yeah.
Manage the tool to help them achieve their goals. So us understanding how we can do it, also having the financial tools, understanding the technicality about it, and rules, legislation, that's really important. But also a lot of it is behavioral as well. It's, when we all try to, go to the gym, sometimes we, get memberships and we don't do it. And it is a bit of personal coaching and bit of mindset. So it's very, yeah. But I think if you don't try, you don't know. I would always say, just give it a go, and you might
Yeah.
like it, but it might be for you.
Yeah, and we are very frequently are, in business. I find, you very frequently are the people that you serve, so you often work with the people that mirror who you are,
Yeah,
and
that's
I do think, that whether you're a single independent woman, or whether you're, a young, married young couple, or, family, whatever stage of life it is. I was talking to a lady that had worked in, had all the education, but just never felt confident in taking the leap of faith into advice. And she's actually become an advisor, and she's in her early 50s. And
Yes.
she said, now's the right time in my life for me to do this. And I was like, wow, that's so impactful to me, because how many women similar to her demographic would be out there looking for someone like her for advice?
It's so good. And you use those skills and you use your knowledge and expertise and experience from so many years, and you can add that to your toolbox. And I think it's fantastic because the ability to relate to your clients is really important too.
Very much so. Being relatable. I totally agree with that. Very much so. Okay. So what's on the horizon for TruWealth? What's happening over the next 12 months, or, the next 5 years? What's your big ambition?
I think it's really, it would be great to attract more women, more female financial advisors to the industry. And if I could help in any way, shape, and form, I would love to do that. And yeah, look, always trying to ensure that we are able to look after our clients in the best possible way, service them because that's what matters to us, and have the efficiency in the business, having a great team, and making sure that everyone is happy with what they do. So I guess really just enjoying the journey. So I would say it's certainly for me, it's all about having that enjoyment. And because I remember back in the day when I was deciding to go on my own, I remember somebody was telling me, "Oh, are you going to have a lifestyle business, or is it going to be to sell?" That's kind of where. So I think for me, it was always the lifestyle business. I could still enjoy my life, and I've got a family, So it's really, and it's a great financial planning. It's a great way to actually enjoy having a family life, but also having that purpose and service clients. You can do it. Some other industries is really not as easy. Yeah. So really just making sure that we continue um, growing
Yeah, more of the same, but just more.
and helping more women out there.
Yeah, which I guess, if I go back to the focus of our discussion, it's really, creating impact, for, for financial advice for women is you've kind of got to live your truth to be able to to be able to have that impact. And I think that's something that, from the outside looking in, it appears to me that's what you're doing and doing very effectively. What do you think creating an impact is all about?
Um, yeah, I think it's, look, creating an impact really, it's so many different words that come to my mind, but a lot of it is living for our clients, it's living their best lives. And for us to ensure that we are able to do that. That's the impact. And if we can help it, if we can help our clients, that's what makes it all, matter.
Yeah,
That's the impact, isn't it?
yeah,
Sort of
100%.
the wider industry. If we can help the wider industry improve and also enjoy what they do. And I know we've got so many challenges, but at the end of the day, we've got to raise everyone up and make sure that we are supporting each other as well.
I think when you can bring the best version of you to the table, and that's the advantage of, having a business that's a lifestyle business or having a business to sell, um, allows you to do that, then you're able to have the greatest impact because, as I said, you're bringing the best version of you to the table. And it does sound to me like you're doing that very well. So,
Thank you. Thank
which
you.
is good. I wanted to, obviously, we've been talking about, how do we attract more people to the table to become financial advisors. I'd love you to share with me some hidden gems that, that if I was a young lady getting started, what should I be taking advice from you on? What's some of those hidden gems that you recommend that I consider?
Look, I think it's personally for me, you can never get it right all the time. I
Mm.
would say is be crystal focused on what you want and how you have that picture in your mind. And that's what I said to my clients too. Does your life look like in the future? Where do you want to be? Visualize that. It's really important. And have that plan and really just make one step at a time and try different things. And you might not like them, but it's really important to give it a go. And I know with women we work with, it's confidence. If that lack of confidence is there, it just stops them from actually living their best lives. So I always say, let's just give it a go. It's okay to make mistakes and just, yeah, embrace it. And yeah, you might enjoy it. You never know.
I actually think that, as you say, that it's okay to make mistakes and that sometimes there's perfection in the imperfections. And that's really, I guess, how we learn, that I, I agree with you that definitely if you're starting out that, try and have a vision, but not always is the vision we end up with the vision we start out with because we learn so much along the way. And that's half the enjoyment, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes. And you don't know because you don't know what's going to be ahead of you. So really it's all about, and look, it is personal growth. Like if you think about the hierarchy of needs, if you can get to the top, that's what matters. Because you can be very successful financially, but miserable inside. So I think it's all about really understanding and understanding you. That's kind of probably again, like what are your strength, weaknesses? What are you good at? Learning that. And that sometimes takes ages and improving. Like, okay, if I need extra help in maybe in this area, but I think it's really good to know, okay, what are my strengths and how am I working when I'm in the flow, like in terms of what's my best style, what am I good at, and really just delve into that. Yeah.
I think the one question that I probably have been a bit remiss in is that obviously you've niched and you chose to niche quite early on, and perhaps it was almost an organic process for you.
Yes.
Do you think, as a market entrant, would you consider niching early, or do you think you need to, as you say, test and measure, try things out? What's your thoughts on that?
I would say give it a go. Well, maybe start from just to be honest, I don't know, but in my case, I don't know if I had a niche at the very start, how that would have panned out. But I think it's really good to, if it doesn't work, move away from it and just really move on. Sometimes I think we get stuck in a certain way of doing things, and we forget that it's actually not working, or we just are too scared to change things. So I think it's really important to change if it doesn't work. And then eventually you do come to a place where you are happy, the most happy, but then that is not forever. It is always moving. So I guess as long as you are, again, just enjoying what you do, it's a journey, and you are improving and learning and growing. That's what I think it's all about.
Yeah, I think that's really sound advice, actually, because, you may or may not make the decision to niche from early on in your career, but the reality is that sometimes you can step into things and they work, and sometimes you can step into things and they don't. And it's as you say, don't become stuck.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, we know a lot of businesses that specialize in medicos very successfully, and they've had 30, 50 years experience in that. So I guess, and it does work for them. But again, that's probably a very different example.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Nattalia, thank you so much. This has been such a good conversation. I do love the impact you're having. I look forward to seeing more of TruWealth and more of your elegant, simplicity with your marketing. I think there's good things ahead, and I have no doubt in my mind that the clients that you work with are very, very lucky to have you. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks, Jenny. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, well, that's the end of this Genesis Gems episode. We'll be back with you again soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and be sure to follow me, Jenny Pearse, on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, wherever you enjoy joining the conversation. Can't wait to connect with you. I'm looking forward to sharing some more Genesis Gems with you in the next session. See you then.